One World Cup final was won, not by the better team, but by the better shoe. Sounds impossible. It happened. And by the end of this video, you'll never look at football boots the same way again. Here's the setup. 1954, World Cup final. Germany is losing. It's pouring rain. The pitch has turned into mud. Every player on the field is slipping, sliding, fighting for grip on every step. Every player except one team's. Because hidden underneath their boots was something the other team had never seen before. Something so simple it's almost funny, and it was about to hand them one of the biggest upsets football has ever recorded. We'll get to exactly what that was in a minute, but that game is the moment football boots quietly stopped being just shoes and started being technology. And once you see how far that technology went, from mud to speed to spin to what's on players' feet right now, you'll start noticing it in every match you ever watch again. Let's go back to the start. Early football. We're talking early 1900s. Boots were basically ankle-high work boots. Thick leather, steel toe caps in some cases. They weighed close to 500 grams each. That's heavier than a can of soup strapped to your foot. And here's the part that sounds made up but isn't. Leather absorbs water. So, on a rainy day, a 500-gram boot could soak up enough water to weigh almost double by the second half. Players were basically dragging wet bricks around a field for 90 minutes. Now imagine trying to sprint or curve a shot in that. You couldn't. Nobody could. Which means football in this era wasn't about speed or finesse. It was about who could survive the boots. So that 1954 final I mentioned, the German team was using boots with screw-in studs made by a company you've definitely heard of, Adidas. Screw-in studs meant you could change the length of the studs depending on the weather. Muddy pitch, you screw in longer studs for grip. That sounds simple now. In 1954, it was revolutionary. West Germany kept their footing, everyone else kept slipping, and Germany won their first World Cup. People still call it the miracle of Bern. Most of them have no idea a shoe helped write that miracle. Fast forward to the late 1960s, a new boot shows up called the Puma King. Lower cut, softer leather, way lighter than the ankle boots of before. And this is where something interesting happens. Boots stop being just protection and start being about control. Players could feel the ball better. They could touch it more precisely. Pelé wore boots like this at the 1970 World Cup, widely considered the most skillful performance in football history. Coincidence? Lighter boots plus better ball feel equals more skillful football. That math checks out. Here's a comparison that'll put this in perspective. Pelé's boots in 1970 weighed around 350 grams. Today's top boots weigh under 200 grams. That's almost half the weight on your foot every single step for 90 minutes. You'd feel that difference in the first 5 minutes of a jog, let alone a professional match. Now let's talk about the boot that didn't just make players faster. It made them curve the ball like it had a mind of its own. 1994, Adidas releases the Predator. And the innovation here isn't the weight, it's rubber fins on the surface of the boot, specifically designed to grip the ball on contact. More grip means more spin. More spin means the ball bends in the air. Suddenly, free kicks that used to fly straight started curving around defensive walls like something out of a video game. David Beckham built an entire legendary career partly on this boot's technology. Free kick specialists as we know them today, that whole art form, exists because rubber fins let players grip a ball in ways leather never could. So by now you're probably noticing a pattern. Every big leap in football boots created a new type of player. Screw-in studs created stability. Lighter leather created skillful dribblers. Rubber grip created curve specialists. And that pattern continues right into the era you actually know. Late 1990s, Nike enters the game hard with the Mercurial. Named after the Roman god of speed on purpose. This boot was built for one thing, making fast players faster. Thinner materials, snugger fit, less drag. Ronaldo, the original Brazilian one, wore these at the 1998 World Cup and looked like he was gliding, not running. And that speed obsession never stopped. Today's boots use knitted fabric instead of leather, custom molded soles, and materials originally designed for astronauts and race cars. Premier League average sprint speeds have measurably increased over the last 2 decades. Players are objectively faster than their fathers were at the same age. Better training help, better nutrition help, but boot technology is a real, measurable part of that jump. So here's the wild part to sit with. When Pelé played in 1970 and when Mbappe plays today, they're technically playing the same sport. Same rules, same ball, same goal size. But the equipment strapped to their feet is so different, it's almost fair to say they're playing 2 different physical experiences of football. One era dragged wet leather through mud. The other era wears something closer to a racing shoe engineered in a lab. So let's bring it all together. Boots started as protection. Then they became about stability, with screw-in studs winning a World Cup. Then control, with lighter leather producing the most skillful players football had ever seen. Then spin, with rubber grip inventing the modern free kick. And finally, speed, with synthetic materials skills creating the fastest era football has ever played. Here's the thought I want to leave you with. We talk about football legends like Pele, Maradona, Beckham, Ronaldo, Mbappe, like their greatness came purely from talent. And it did, mostly. But every single one of them was also standing on the shoulders, or really, standing in the boots, of quiet engineering decisions most fans never even notice. The next time you watch someone bend a free kick into the top corner, or outrun 3 defenders in a straight line, remember, some of that magic is stitched into what's on their feet. If this kind of hidden history behind the sport is something you're into, subscribe, because this is exactly the kind of stuff I dig into every video.